firing line, and it's sort of similar as the name association. I give you names of people, you just tell me what you think about them, and for the most part, I'm sure you're going to say they're all great guys, and if there's a tiny little story to throw in there as well, please do. And the first name I've got on here is George Wells.
Great athlete.
Fair enough then. It's all right, Don's filled me in with the rest of the story already, so you don't need to go into it anymore. Honky Tonk Man. These are all WWF, by the way, but Honky Tonk Man.
Lucky individual.
How so?
Well, Wayne was limited in his skills, but he played his gimmick to the hilt. He was his gimmick, very good. And he made a lot of money. And, I just thought he was sort of limited in his skills in the ring.
Rockin' Robin's the next name.
She was a girl.
Sam Houston's sister and Jake Roberts.
Yes. I didn't know much about her.
Fine. Kamala.
Nice guy.
Ken Resnick.
Lucky individual.
You've said that more often than not. You're not a fan of Ken.
Well, Ken's a nice guy, but I think he became a little more self-important, he realized, than he actually was. He's a good guy, but that's the way he struck me.
Yep. Corporal Kirshner.
Real genteel, easygoing.
Ted Arcidi.
Very strong, but limited in the ring.
I think that's fair enough to say. Gorilla Monsoon.
Wonderful guy.
Did he give you any direction as far as like the wrestling went, or was he just the guy who told you to go out at a certain time, or what role did he play in the backstage for you?
He didn't. He actually would let us know when we were to go home, when we were to go into the finish. He would signal to the referee, time for the boys to go home. And him and Bobby Heenan were a great, team as far as, describing the matches.
Yeah, I'll give you a few more. Ivan Putski.
A real character. A lot of people didn't realize that he played pro football for the Detroit Lions as a running back. He really milked his gimmick for all it was worth, and he did a great job doing it.
Yeah, Don has told me, I keep referencing Don Morocco, by the way, but why not, that he said that some people weren't big fans of Ivan at the time. Was it just because of where he was in the pecking order, or I don't know, you tell me, or if it's not even true?
Well, this is my own interpretation, and I think that Joe Bernardzik, Ivan Putski, which is very easy to do in the wrestling business, was very, into his own gimmick and wanted to make it go as far as he could. So he was sort of, he might have pissed some people off in terms of, working with them or saying something to them. But in that regard, it's very easy to be selfish in this business, because it's all up to you. The promoter can have a lot to do with it, but you have to perform.
Yeah. Okay, then. Bad News Brown, who I know you wrestled.
Yes. He came to the WWE at the end of his career. His knees were real bad, and he was a hell of a judo guy in the Olympics. And I didn't get an opportunity to, get very close to him. So it was sort of, business is business.
Earl Hebner.
Great guy. One of the best referees, and just a good guy. And everybody loved him. And him and his brother, were more or less the anchors of the refereeing crew there at the WWE.
Hercules.
Ray Hernandez, what a great guy. Great guy. I loved him. Died way too young. Um, Actually, very talented in the ring, too.
Virgil.
Virgil, that was sort of that whole $1 Million Man and Virgil was a takeoff on um, or Jimmy Crockett and Dusty Rhodes, and you could put them together. But Virgil just he did a good job, being Teddy's valet or whatever.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize that Ted DiBiase was meant to be Jimmy Crockett in that whole affair.
Yeah, it was.
So Virgil's obviously a taker for Dusty, but as valet or whatever, was it? What's the hidden subtext there between the two? Do you think?
Well, I really don't know. I think Vince had a funny way of suggesting things. Vince was a brilliant guy. He just had a sort of a weird and warped sense of ideas, but he sort of put things together like that, and then, he comes when Harley Race comes in, he calls him the king of the ring, and has him wear a crown. And that was a spoof on him, and he went with it, and it's.
Well, if you've got to carry a crown and cape around, I mean, that's punishment enough if you've got to do it 300 times a year. Lord Alfred Hayes.
Lord Alfred Hayes, wonderful guy. I learned a lot from him in Kansas City when he was tagged with Roger Kirby. Funny guy, loved his articulation of the English language, and did a great job with the WWE too.
I'm so glad you said something nice about Lord Alfred, because he's definitely one of my favorites.
He was a great guy.